Hi guys, Salam alaikum, Khaled, Shabonga. Guys, this is the long video about this whole very sad issue of AmaBhungane and them hiding away the facts of their chairperson. In fact, in a letter that I got yesterday, answering questions in our own group of companies on a sexual harassment issue, potential sexual harassment issue, which I dealt with in my company when I was still CEO, you can't even make the comparison. But they're trying to digress, answer all of their questions, dealt with it very expeditiously. And you know, for me, when there is someone that complains about something like that, even though they had no evidence, if there was even a 1% chance that someone was right about a complaint like that, I gave the people the benefit of the doubt. And I made sure that whatever I could do for them was done. And in circumstances where you have people that don't work for you and they've come along and made a complaint, what can you do? You can just ask them what they require to move forward in their life and be good and kind to them. And that's exactly what I did. But on the other hand, I see a tit-for-tat type of nonsense going on with Samsung. And now he's sort of run away into the corner with his little computer in the dark room. And therefore a guy called Dearbolt in charge, who I'm not going to even try and make famous, because that's all he's interested in. But the truth of the matter is, they come along, their chairperson gets pretty much exposed. And then he resigns. But no accountability is there for an institution that allegedly is a journalist company or a bunch of journalists that are investigative journalists. They've done absolutely nothing. Now, what does it say about them? It's almost like going to a car repair center or a panel beater and their cars are all broken and never in good repair or fixed properly, and then you're going to send your car there. It's a very similar situation because they have no accountability because they really think they're above the law. They've infringed on my right of privacy. They make this a personal issue. And now it's a tit-for-tat thing. They have a personal gripe against me. And honestly, I don't really care who they are. But the truth has to be told. And once they are very bad at digging up dirt on their own people, but they'd like to dig up dirt on everybody else, the truth of the matter is they've come with lots of allegations about me personally. And none of which is stuck. Or none of which is sticking. Now you can throw, I don't want to use the wrong word, but you can throw shit against the wall as many times as you want, and you hope that something will stick is where they're at. And they can go on forever. And as long as they'll be writing, I'll be fighting. And fighting for what's right and giving my version. The truth of the matter is, here's a company that says they're award-winning journalists, and they cover up such a heinous crime. Can you just imagine sending your daughter to university? And I have 2 daughters. And all of a sudden, the lecturer or the dean of the faculty, this Dr. Kwape, whatever his position was in the university, comes along, gives a lecture, and then he leaves an apple at my daughter's table, indicative of that he would love to groom her for his own sexual desires or for his own predatory purposes. I'm not happy with that. I'm not happy with that entire issue. It makes me feel sad. And it's not a good place to do it at in the first place. It's never a good time to do it or a good place to do it in any event. But at a university, when someone's receiving an education and they put their trust into someone of that magnitude or in that position, I ask myself, what is AmaBhungane done to ask him the right questions, get the right answers, and be correctly accountable for what they have done or been complicit in? Once again, they're complicit in stealing my documentation. They're complicit in harassing me. They're complicit in a campaign of slurring against me personally. But yet, they can't do an explanation on a simple thing. And I will go as far as saying they're complicit in what Dr. Kwape has done. The issue for me is that without a decent explanation, I question the people that are actually supporting them, the people that are in fact supporting them financially and giving them support to do this nonsense. I mean, are they really moving from what is a journalist company investigating crime and corruption and that sort of stuff to a tabloid now, where they're writing nonsense and frivolous stuff that's not even in public interest? I can't imagine how you can't give accountability. But when the sponsors of these particular institute, AmaBhungane, doesn't do something about it, it concerns me even more because it says that they're complicit as well. And I hate to think some good people out there putting their money into a place like this would be complicit. I can't really believe that. I don't. So I call upon them to please rectify this. Let them come to book. Let them make the explanations. The other issue about being complicit is the issue of whether or not their job is to arrest people, because they haven't done anything significant around exposing any corruption that I've done or anything that I've done incorrectly, but yet they pursue this matter. Why? They've now put the entire journalism industry into a state where should the Moti Group go and take their case to the Constitutional Court, and I don't know if they're going to be doing that, but I suspect that Dr. Mokhashani is a guy that won't leave without a proper fight on this matter. But let's assume they go to the Constitutional Court for a minute. It puts all media, all journalists under review on certain factors of stolen information, how they go about doing things, all because of a bunch of naughty guys. Now, I have no issue with journalists. I met lots of them last night in the Zimbabwean issue. I met lots of them dealing with success in Zimbabwe, etc. It was great to be interacting with every one of them. But what's important is they've made this fight an issue between Moti versus the media. Another lie, another spinning story, another well-spun yarn of bullshit. That's what they've done. And the media, unfortunately, has put themselves in a position where they're following his nonsense. Don't do that. Bring him to accountability. Let him explain what happened with his chairman. Let him give us a full insight. He is a non-profit organization. We have the right to know as the public. This is an interest of public. This is very, not interesting, but a public interest. This is a clear example of that. And he should be brought to book. Instead, he scuttles off and runs off into a corner, as I mentioned before, and now puts a new Deerwald in charge of asking a whole bunch of silly questions, which are really ridiculous. But be it as it may, I think it's important for the parents out there who are sending their students to university and are listening to media and are listening to media and trusting them to look very carefully at who the underlying people are and what's the narrative that they're spinning. News 24 had a very good relationship with AmaBhungane. I don't know if they still do, and I don't know how they propagate them. But what's interesting is, as I mentioned before, all they do is they just refocus the stories on their platform and lie to spin out, whether it's right or wrong, whether it's correct, whether information is deterred, whether it's information is slanted. But they print AmaBhungane's narrative. And we know it's because Adam Basson and Samsol are buddies. And I can actually prove that. But interestingly enough, a person out of the AmaBhungane stable has been whispering to us a lot of things on their own accord, anonymously, but coming from someone in the organization about how they actually operate. And that is so interesting. And I hope that in the future, the information that's being assimilated will come to light. And that information will be most interesting. Thank you very much for listening. And I hope this has been valuable to every parent out there. And I hope that every parent stands with me on this issue. I hope that every institution that's sponsoring these people bring them to book. Cheers.